How's it going, guys? I'm Danny, and this is my In the Bag. I'm gonna go ahead and start with putters. I putt with Blend Judges. I really like these bar stamps here. I was putting with Classic Judges for a while, but I found that when I would miss putts, which I tend to do a lot, they would get big gashes on the side really quickly, which is fine if you change your putters out, but trying to get my putters to last a little bit longer, I switched to these blends, and they tend to hold up just a little bit better when they hit the ground. They're fairly firm for blend putters, so they don't change as I release them or anything. They've got a real good grip to them, a real good feel. As far as throwing putters, I throw this Lucid Warden here. I used to throw the Moonshine Warden a lot, but this Lucid Warden is nice and stable, and I wanted something that was a neon color. So when I played in the fall and I threw it underneath the leaves, I wouldn't lose it. But this Lucid Warden is awesome. Nice and stable, flies just like the Moonshines. Moving on to mid-ranges, I have 3 Emac Truths. This is a Lucid Emac Truth that is very, very beat up. This one will hold a nice long anhyzer, good turnover, tons of glide. I actually lost this disc out of state and somebody mailed it back to me. Thank you, Joey. This has been one of my favorite discs for a long time. I also have a Biofusion Emac Truth here. This one is just a tick more stable than that one. This one will flip over, glide to the right, but it'll come back at the end. It's really useful in the woods for long and straight shots that don't need a ton of fade on them. I also have a Fusion Emac Truth here. This one's fairly stable. This one's my long thrower. If I need to hit a long tunnel shot in the woods, I can power up this one and I don't have to worry about it flipping over at all. This one will flip just right up to flat and go nice and straight. I really like this disc. I also carry one Verdict. This like opaque run of Lucid Verdicts has been very, very overstable. Most Verdicts are normal overstable, but this one's just a tick more, and I really like that. I like to throw this disc out in the open more than I do in the woods because it doesn't have as much glide as the Emac, and that makes it a little more accurate. It's a little more overstable. So in the woods, I would probably throw an Emac, but in the open, I'm probably going to lean more towards the Verdict. Verdict has a ton of glide. Just compared to the Emac, it's not as much. I carry 2 Justices. I carry a Lucid Justice from the 2015, I want to say, GBO when they came out, and this one is the most overstable Justice I have thrown. And that's saying something because Justices are overstable, but this one's like nearly a puddle top. This one is insane. I don't even know if I can throw this disc 200 feet. It's so overstable. I use it a lot for skip shots. It tends to flare like a lot at the end. I really like using this disc a lot. Then I have a Prime Justice. I've been looking for a good overstable like putter approach disc or shorter forehands in the woods disc for a while now. I've tried something less stable, I've tried something more stable, I've tried a slammer, but I think I've settled on this Prime Justice here. It's not gonna flip out of my hand, but it glides straighter than the Lucid, and at the end it just drops. I like to think of it as a glideless Verdict. Right out of my hand, it's gonna hold the right line that I need, and then at the end it just goes whoomp and just drops. I love it. All right, moving on to Fairway Drivers. I kind of switch back and forth between the Convict and the Escape. The Escape, I think, has a little more distance than the Convict, but this one's prettier, so I'm throwing the Convict right now. This one's beat up, is why it flies like an Escape. Most Convicts are pretty stable, but this one's got a good anhyzer flight to it. It'll flip over. I can roll it if I need to. This one started out fairly stable, but it's gotten fairly beat to where it flies. Just a beautiful turnover line. It's a great understable fairway to have. And then Eric Oakley is a huge fan of the Felon. And he says everyone should bag a Felon. And I do. It's just my Felon is a criminal. I have 3 Biofusion Criminals in my bag. This is the least stable of them, and it flies just like a Felon. I call it my Kremlin. This one will flip up to flat, backhand or forehand, glide very, very straight. It doesn't deviate left to right a ton, and it doesn't fade a ton at the end. This is an amazing disc. This is the disc that kicked the Felon out of my bag. I have another Biofusion Criminal that's a little bit more stable than that one, but it flies mostly the same. Just a little bit of turn and then a good strong fade at the end. And then I have a new Biofusion Criminal, and these things go so far. They're a 10-speed driver with 3 glide, so not a ton of glide, but they go far. I accidentally throw this disc too far all the time. Anyway, the Biofusion here, the new one flies the same line as like a Lucid, but it just goes farther. So if I need to throw anywhere from like 350 up to even 390, this is probably the disc that I'm going to grab. And then I have a Lucid Criminal right here. Speaking of Eric Oakley, the Tour 2017 Whale Pants Lucid Criminal here. This disc is amazing. If there's a shot that's just a token forehand, it lines up as a dog leg to the right, this is the disc that I'm going to grab and throw. I really like this one in the open too. It's really, really accurate on spike hyzers. It's got glide for being very overstable, right? So right at the end of its flight, rather than just dropping like the Justice does, it tends to like glide as it hooks up. And it sounds weird to say an overstable disc has glide, but the Criminal is a unique disc. It's an awesome disc for sure. Moving on to distance drivers, I have 2 Trespasses. This is the less stable one. They're both Lucid. It's Team Stamp. I've had this one for a little bit. This one will ride a nice long anhyzer, or if I need to throw a really far roller, this is the disc that I'm going to grab. And then I also have this Lucid Trespass here. This one is pretty stable for a trespass. This one will flip up. It might glide a little bit to the right, but it's mostly just going dead straight with a good long fade at the end. This is a fantastic disc to have. If you're thinking about stepping up to a distance driver, but you're not sure if you have the arm speed for it, I definitely recommend grabbing a Trespass. These discs are amazing. Now onto my Defenders. I have one Biofusion Defender here. And I used to throw a lot of Biofusion Defenders, but I've pretty much switched over to Fusion now just because they last just a little bit longer. But this Biofusion here is my go far disc, right? I was kind of pushing up the middle there. It's not super domey, but it's 170, so it's a little bit lighter, and it's got just a great line on it. It'll flip over a little bit, and then it'll come back at the end, and it just goes really, really far. I also have a green Fusion Defender here. This one will flip over a little bit more than the Biofusion, honestly, but it'll come back at the end. This is my go-to disc. I will throw this one on hyzers, anhyzers, straight shots, everything. If I don't know what disc I'm going to throw, but it's far, I'm going to grab this disc. I have another Team Stamp Lucid Fusion Defender here. This one is more stable than the green one. This one has a little bit of turn on it. It'll flip up to flat or it'll flip over, but it's going to come back a lot sooner. It's not going to go quite as far, but it's going to be a little more accurate. I really like this disc for throwing long tunnel shots. It holds really straight before it fades, and the fade is good, reliable, nice and healthy fade. And the most stable Fusion Defender I have is this pink one here. A-Ray gave me this one, and this one is stable. This one will hold up in a headwind. Not too strong of a headwind, but it'll hold up in a decent headwind. I can throw this one as hard as I want to with no wind, and it's just not going to flip. So this is an awesome disc. Really, really good, reliable, overstable disc. Then I also have a Lucid Defender here. This one's just a tick more stable than this pink one here, and I really just like the stamp on it, so I had to get this one. I don't have a super overstable Defender in my bag right now. The Metal Flake Lucid ones or that pink really domey one are really lots more overstable than these. I just don't really play in the wind enough to need something that's that overstable. So this Lucid Defender is plenty for me. It doesn't really flip in a headwind, but it's not the most accurate in a headwind. So if I have to throw hard in a headwind, I'm probably going to grab my Lucid Criminal. So that's it. Besides discs in my bag, I have a towel, a sport sack here, and then I have a bag, a pencil bag here. This is what I put all my pencils in, all the little things in my bag that aren't discs that I don't want to clutter up the top. And that means whenever I need my towel or I need my sport sack, I can grab it quicker because I'm not having to sort through all those little things. Also, I have this golden retriever. This has saved me more money than anything in my bag. This is an incredible thing right here. They just put a course in near me that has a creek, and I use this thing literally every round to fish either my disc or somebody else's disc out of that creek. This is an awesome thing to have. If you don't have a golden retriever and you play around water, you are spending too much money on discs. So I definitely recommend grabbing one of these. I have, I think, 3 first try pickups to my name. Like, first time I cast it out there, pulled it right in. So that's about it. I carry the Heather Gray Ranger bag here because it looks awesome. I put it in my cart sometimes, but usually I just carry it. It's not too heavy. It's pretty light, and it looks awesome. I have the Jomez Pro pin up here. I was on the Jomez Final 9. Some say it was bagging. It may have been, but it was a lot of fun. So check that out if you haven't. And until next time, remember, slow is smooth and smooth is far.